Good morning, dear friend. As the first light of dawn brushes as against the stillness of your room, you might notice how the world feels quieter, softer, even sacred. The air is cooler, the sky wears hues of promise, and everything seems to pause as if heaven itself is leaning in to listen. This is the hour where the soul becomes more aware. It is no coincidence you are here, in this moment, with your heart turned towards something deeper. Maybe your eyes open today with a weight already sitting on your chest. Perhaps sleep could not quiet the questions that chased you through the night. There is someone out there, and maybe that someone is you who is carrying the invisible pain of loss. The kind that does not have a name people recognize. Maybe you have smiled through heartbreak, stood strong while silently falling apart, or simply walked through your days wondering if your steps have meaning at all. I once heard about a woman who used to sit alone in her car before work, not because she was early, but because she did not know how to keep going. Her days were full of people, but her heart was hollow with fear. She was grieving the loss of her father and the end of a relationship, both gone within the same season. The world around her continued, but inside, she had paused. The only place she felt safe to breathe was in those quiet minutes before the sun came up, when no one expected her to smile or speak. And there, in that silence, something changed. Not instantly, but gradually. One morning she whispered a few words toward the sky. She did not even know if she believed they were heard, but it was a start. That simple whisper became her lifeline, not because her circumstances changed right away, but because she changed. Because when a heart turns even slightly toward heaven, something shifts. Something begins, and maybe today, that something begins for you too. This prayer journey you are about to step into is not just a collection of words. It is an invitation to return to the place where your soul remembers who it belongs to. It is a sacred conversation between your heart and the one who shaped it. No matter where you are, no matter what you have been through, there is space for you here. You do not need to have the right words. You do not need to pretend everything is okay. You just need to be willing to open the door of your heart, because there is power in prayer. Not the kind that always fixes what is broken, but the kind that steadies your spirit while the storm still rages. Prayer is not about performance. It is about presence, about connection, about surrender. It is the act of turning away from noise, from fear, from everything that feels uncertain, and turning toward the quiet voice that says, I see you. I know. I am with you. So if you are weary, come. If you are doubting, come. If your heart is full or if it is shattered, come. Let this moment be the beginning of something sacred. A returning. A rebuilding. A remembering. Take a deep breath. Set aside the pressure to fix everything. You are not alone here. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning, I come to you not with eloquent words, but with a heart that feels like it is fumbling in the dark. I do not pretend to know where I am going. I do not have answers, only aching questions. My mind feels heavy with thoughts that never seem to quiet, and my heart is tired of carrying what it cannot explain. I woke up early, not because I am full of joy or energy, but because something deeper inside me is stirring a longing I cannot silence, a need I can no longer ignore. There is fog around me, not just outside my window, but in the very center of who I am. I feel like I am standing at the edge of a road I do not recognize, uncertain whether to move forward, turn back, or simply fall to my knees. I have tried to figure things out on my own. I have looked to others, to books, to schedules, to routines. But the more I search without you, the more lost I feel. There are days I move through like a ghost present, but not really alive. There are mornings like this one, where the silence speaks louder than my own voice, and I realize that I am craving something that no one else can give. I need you, Father, not just as a guide, but as my grounding place. I need something truer than logic, something deeper than what my eyes can see. I need your presence to meet me right here, in this exact moment, before anything else happens today. I do not bring perfection into this prayer. I bring pieces. Scattered thoughts, torn hopes, questions that do not have neat endings. But I bring them honestly. I bring them because I believe that you do not require polish, only permission. Permission to step into the into the confusion, into the parts of me I wish were further along. So here I am, not trying to impress you, just trying to find you. Or maybe, more truthfully, I am trying to let you find me. There is something sacred about this hour before the world fully wakes. It is in this quiet that I hear myself more clearly. And in hearing myself, I recognize how much I miss hearing you. I miss feeling close to you. I miss the peace that came from knowing I was walking somewhere meaningful. Lately, I have been moving, but not living. Reacting, but not building. Running, but not resting. I have been trying to do it all, forgetting that none of it matters without your voice leading the way. I have built routines, but not relationships. I have created lists, but not listened. And now I am here, not because everything has fallen apart, but because I am finally brave enough to admit that I cannot keep pretending I am okay. Dear God, I am tired of wandering without wonder. I am tired of striving without stillness. My heart needs rest, not the kind that sleep provides, but the kind that only your spirit can offer. I long to feel you again, not as a concept, but as the breath in my lungs, the light in my mind, the calm in my spirit. I long to trust that even when the path ahead is unclear, I am still being led. I do not want to keep walking in circles. I want to believe that you are guiding me, even when I cannot see the next step. Show me how to take one honest step this morning. Not the perfect one, not the impressive one, just the real one. The step that says, I may not have it all figured out, but I trust that you do. Remind me that faith is not about certainty, but about direction. And right now, all I want is to move toward you, even if I stumble, even if I cry, even if all I can manage is a whisper. Let that whisper reach you. Sometimes, I imagine what it would feel like to have you hold my hand, not as a metaphor, but in spirit. To know that even when I cannot hold everything together, you are holding on to me. That kind of closeness is what I need. Not answers, not quick fixes, just the awareness that I am not alone, that I am seen, that I am not expected to walk this life without help. Please let that awareness become real to me again, not just in my head, but in my soul. Father, I bring you my fog, the mental fog that clouds my judgment, the emotional fog that hides joy, the spiritual fog that makes me wonder if I am still in step with you. I bring it all, because I do not know how to clear it on my own. I ask you to be the morning light that cuts through the uncertainty. I ask you to be the warmth that melts away the cold numbness that sometimes settles into my chest. I ask you to be the voice that gently calls my name and reminds me I still have purpose, even if I feel like I have drifted far from it. I do not need everything to be solved today. I do not need a map or a miracle, though I would welcome both. What I need is the courage to stay in this prayer with you, to not run from the silence, to not turn away from the H, but to let it lead me into something more honest, more sacred, more real. I want to relearn the sound of your presence. I want to believe again not just in what you can do, but in who you are. If you are truly near to the brokenhearted, then here I am, offering every broken place as invitation. If you truly order the steps of those who seek you, then I seek you now not with answers, but with surrender. Let this be the beginning of a journey that does not rely on sight, but on trust. Let this morning be more than routine. Let it be an altar. Let it be the place where I meet you again. Let it be the first step out of fog and into grace. God, there is a trembling in my chest I can no longer hide. After sitting with you in the stillness, after laying the fog of my confusion at your feet, something inside has cracked open, and I do not want to patch it back together too quickly. What good is pretending now, when you already know what is behind my eyes and underneath my skin? You see the part of me I work so hard to keep covered, the H I mask with laughter, the questions I bury beneath responsibility, the fears that follow me even when I smile. I am tired of trying to manage the weight of being strong. I am tired of telling myself it is not that bad when, inside, it feels like everything is unraveling. So I will not filter my cry today. I will not dress it up with tidy phrases or try to make it sound acceptable. I come raw, exposed, and honest. If there is grace for the real version of me, then let it find me here. Let it reach into the room I am sitting in, into the moment where I finally stop performing and just weep. Not tears of weakness, but of release. I do not cry because I am without hope. I cry because I have carried too much without letting you carry me, and now that my arms are exhausted from holding it all together, I am willing, maybe for the first time, to let go. I surrender to you what I cannot fix. The disappointment I have not voiced aloud, the way grief lingers like smoke, long after the fire is gone, the fear that whispers I am too far off course, The shame that tells me my faith should be stronger than this. I hand it over without knowing what you will do with it. I hand it over not to control the outcome, but because I trust that you are better at holding it than I am. I do not have to lead myself out of this pain. I do not have to design the path of healing. I only need to collapse into your arms and believe that they are wide enough, strong enough, kind enough to hold me while I come undone. I know that you are not offended by my tears. You do not turn away from my weakness. You are not looking for polished prayers or practiced responses. You are looking for hearts willing to break open so you can pour something holy into the cracks. You are the God who weeps with the broken, who kneels beside the hurting, who does not rush the process of healing. So I will not rush this either. I will not apologize for my H. I will not minimize what feels too heavy to carry. I will simply bring it to you, every jagged piece, and trust that you do not find me messy, you find me beloved. There is something sacred about this surrender, because I know what comes next, but because I have chosen not to keep hiding. My soul is not something to be cleaned before it is presented to you. It is yours in this exact condition, raw, cracked, imperfect, yearning, and you receive it with open hands. That alone is enough to make me cry again, not because I am broken, but because I am seen, fully, deeply, completely seen. Not just the version of me I try to be, but the one who shows up with questions still unanswered and faith still trembling. That is the version you invite to stay. Lord, I bring you my exhaustion, not just physical, but soul-deep fatigue. The kind of tired that rest cannot touch. The kind that comes from carrying wounds I never tended to. The kind that comes from wearing masks for too long. I am tired of pretending I am unaffected. I am tired of numbing myself with distraction. I want to feel again, even if it means I feel pain, because I believe you meet me in the pain. Not to leave me there, but to sit with me in it until the time is right to rise. I do not need you to explain the reasons. I just need you to remain. Stay here with me in this silence. Stay here as I unravel. Do not rush me to feel better. Just hold me in the truth that I am not abandoned. Let me lean into the knowledge that you are not just God of the heavens, but God of this exact moment. God of the tears I never cried until now. God of the parts I never gave you until they broke open. God of the voice that now cracks and pleads with every word. I want to trust again, but my trust is fragile. I want to believe in restoration, but my heart is hesitant. Still, here I am, whispering through cracked lips that I want you. I want your nearness more than I want answers. I want your peace more than I want control. I want your truth more than I want reassurance. And so I cry not to get attention, but to give permission. Permission for you to come all the way in, into the sadness, into the fatigue, into the room no one else sees. You are not unfamiliar with sorrow. You are not confused by grief. You are not surprised by my struggle to believe. And you do not flinch when I tell you I am afraid. Afraid of being let down again. Afraid that healing will never come. Afraid that I will stay stuck in this place longer than I can bear. But still, you are here. and that truth is beginning to steady something inside me. Even in my crying, even in my unraveling, you have not walked away. You are closer than my breath, and you are listening, even to the words I cannot say out loud. Let this cry be a song you understand. Let it be an offering you welcome. Let it be enough for now. I do not know what tomorrow holds. I do not know how long this season of sorrow will last. But I know you are not a stranger to suffering, and that means I am not alone in mine. I choose to believe that my tears are not wasted, that you catch each one, that you hold them as promises, that you are already turning sorrow into something sacred. So I surrender my timeline. I surrender my need for resolution. I surrender the lie that says I should be stronger by now. And I simply ask for you, not for a change in circumstances, not for a sudden shift. Just you, just your presence in this moment. Because if you are here, then even this pain can become holy. Even this ache can lead to something beautiful. Even this cry can become the beginning of a deeper kind of healing. I offer it to you now. Without filter. Without fear. Without explanation. I offer it because I believe you receive it with love. Lord, as my tears settle and the raw ache begins to quiet, something unexpected stirs within me. It is faint, almost hidden beneath the sadness, but it is there. A whisper, a memory, a flicker of something familiar. It comes not from the present, but from the past, from places I forgot to remember. Moments when you showed up for me before I even knew how to ask. Miracles that I buried under busy days or blurred in my rush to move on. But now, in this space of stillness and surrender, I begin to see traces of your hand that I overlooked before. Not because they were not there, but because I was not looking closely enough. Father, it is strange how suffering opens our eyes to what was always sacred. When everything is stripped away, I begin to notice again. And now I remember the time I felt entirely alone. And someone called me at just the right moment, not to fix anything, but to remind me I was not forgotten. I remember a night I could not sleep, and instead of peace, I was filled with panic. But somewhere in that darkness, a song I had not heard in years came to mind. Not one I chose, but one that wrapped around me like a blanket. The lyrics were not random. They were a message from you. I remember walking into rooms I did not feel worthy to enter and being received with kindness I did not expect. I remember how I made mistakes that should have shattered things beyond repair. But somehow, mercy was stronger than the consequences. I remember a silent prayer breathed into a pillow, one I did not even finish speaking out loud, and how the next day brought an answer that could not have come from anywhere else. These memories are not coincidences. They are footprints. Evidence that you were closer than I believed, even when I was unaware, even when I doubted. You were orchestrating grace. Lord, help me not to forget again. Help me hold these moments close, especially when my present feels uncertain. Let the past speak hope into my now. Let these miracles become the foundation for the faith I need today. Not because I expect you to repeat them the same way, but because I know now you were never absent. I see it more clearly. You have been writing beauty into my story long before I learned how to trace the ink. Even in chapters that looked like silence, you were speaking in a different language one. I am only now learning how to read. Sometimes I wonder why I forget so easily, why gratitude slips through my fingers, why joy becomes faint, why awe fades. I get lost in the noise of daily life. In the anxiety of what might go wrong next, I forget to pause. I forget to look back. But you never stop giving me reasons to remember. Your goodness is not confined to the grand or the dramatic. It is stitched into the details, quiet but undeniable. The breath I took this morning, the sunrise that happened without my asking, the resilience in my chest, even after all I have carried. These are not small things. These are signs, miracles in motion. So now I choose to recall what I have buried beneath the noise. I remember the healing that came after heartbreak, not because I forced it, but because you gently rebuilt me piece by piece. I remember laughter after seasons of loss, and how strange it felt to smile again, but how right. I remember moments when I was too weak to pray, and others prayed for me. I remember that time I thought it was the end, but it was really the beginning of something better. I remember because these memories are not nostalgia, they are altars, holy places marked by your hand. God, I do not want to be the one who walks through wonders and forgets. I want to be the one who carries the memory like treasure, who speaks of it with reverence, who lets it shape how I trust you now. Because the truth is, if you did it before, you can do it again. If you came through then, you are able to do it now. And not just able but willing. You are the same God, the same heart, the same kindness. You have not changed, even if I have. And that is what gives me courage. Let remembering become an act of worship. Let it break through the fear I still hold. Let it quiet the questions I do not yet have answers for. Because if I build my hope on what I see today, I might crumble. But if I build it on the foundation of who you have already proven yourself to be, I can stand. I may tremble, but I will not fall. I may ache, but I will not lose heart. I may face unknowns, but I will not walk them alone. You were there before. You are here now. You will be there still. Help me mark today as another page in our history. Another moment I choose to remember, not just what hurts, but what heals. Let this be a turning point, not because everything has changed yet, but because I am choosing to remember what is true. I am choosing to lift my eyes. I am choosing to let gratitude do what fear never could anchor me. Thank you for not growing tired of reminding me. Thank you for weaving grace into my past, so that when the present grows heavy, I have something to reach for. Thank you for the miracles I missed and the ones I remembered only now. Thank you for not requiring perfection, only presence. I bring my whole self again this time, holding the memories that prove you have never left me. And if you could lead me through those valleys, I know you can guide me through this one too. So I hold tight to every glimpse of you I have ever seen. I carry them like candles through the dark. And though I may still feel the chill of uncertainty, I am not cold anymore. Your goodness burns in the center of my remembering. It lives there now, steady and sure. And as I take the next breath, I do so with the quiet confidence that you are still writing stories with your fingerprints, and I am one of them. Father, in the soft echoes of remembering, something quiet is settling over my heart. It is not the silence of absence or emptiness. It is the sacred stillness of your nearness. The kind of silence that does not scream to be heard, but waits to be welcomed. And I realize now, as I rest in these memories of mercy, that perhaps you have been speaking all along, not through thunder or shouts, but through whispers I was too hurried to hear. There is something about stillness that I have often resisted. I fill my days with motion, my mind with noise, my hands with tasks, as if stillness is somehow weakness. But here, in this early hour, with no one to impress and nothing to perform, I begin to hear what I have been missing. Not just my own breath or the quiet around me, but you. The sound of your voice is not loud, but it is unmistakable. Not demanding, but deeply present. It does not rush in. It waits. And now, I want to wait too. Lord, I confess how often I have prayed for direction, but never paused long enough to listen for it. I have poured out my words like rain, but left no space for your answer. I have asked you to speak louder, while refusing to lower the volume of my own life. But I see it now. I see how the gentle voice of truth does not compete with chaos. It invites me to come closer, to lean in, to quiet the clamor and let you have the floor. So I slow myself down, not just physically, but internally. I bring my scattered thoughts into focus, not with force, but with a willingness to receive whatever you might want to say. I used to think hearing you would feel like lightning, but it feels more like breath, like a steady warmth rising in my chest when peace replaces panic, like a subtle shift in my thinking that I know I did not conjure on my own. Sometimes it comes in words I never would have chosen, but suddenly understand. Other times, it is just a knowing, a calm assurance that settles over the storm inside me. I may not always be certain what I have heard, but I am learning to trust the fruit it brings. When what I sense brings peace instead of pressure, alignment instead of anxiety, I begin to recognize the sound of you. God, I know you are not hiding. You are not playing games with my heart. But I have to admit, I do not always know how to tune in. The distractions are real. The doubts are loud. The inner critic has a stronger voice than I like to admit. But even louder than all of that is my desire to know you more. I want to hear you not just for answers, but for intimacy. Not just so I know what to do, but so I remember who I am. Speak to me in a way I can understand, and give me the patience to stay long enough to hear it. I believe you speak in more ways than I expect. Through scripture, through nature, through memories and moments, through dreams and gentle nudges, I believe your voice is not confined to one method, setting. You are the God who once spoke through a burning bush, and later through the quiet breath of a man weeping in a garden. I believe you still speak in ways that meet me exactly where I am. And today, that place is stillness, not the absence of sound, but the fullness of presence. Help me recognize the difference between stillness and stagnation. Stillness is not doing nothing, it is doing the most important thing. It is creating room for you to be known. It is releasing the need to fix everything, to control the pace, to fill the air with my thoughts. It is a sacred pause in a world that never stops spinning. It is an act of reverence, a posture of expectation, a gesture of trust. When I choose stillness, I am saying with my whole being that your voice matters more than my momentum. I open my heart to whatever you have been trying to say, even if it challenges me, even if it disrupts the path I thought I was on. I do not want to be someone who asks you to speak, but then resists your answer. Soften my defenses. Open the ears of my spirit. Let my soul become familiar with the tone of truth, with the rhythm of grace, with the cadence of heaven. Let your words sink deep, not just into my mind, but into the fabric of how I see, how I choose, how I believe. Sometimes I wonder if I have missed you because I was waiting for something dramatic. But I think now that you are more consistent than that. I think you have been speaking through quiet acts of kindness, through unexpected peace in restless moments, through the gentle prompting to reach out, to stay, to let go. I think I have seen you in the eyes of a stranger who smiled when I needed it most. I think I have heard you in the silence after a deep breath. I think you are not as far as I thought. You are simply not shouting. Let this morning be different. Let it be the beginning of a habit, not just to pray, but to listen, to give space to silence and not rush to fill it, to expect your presence to speak. Even if I do not fully understand the language yet, teach me to stay long enough for stillness to do its work. Teach me to lean into the quiet instead of fearing it. Teach me that the more I practice presence, the more clearly I will hear purpose. Lord, I do not need grand gestures today. I just need you, not because I am helpless, but because I am learning that strength grows best in the soil of surrender, that faith deepens when it is watered by your words, that clarity comes not from control, but from communion. And here in this stillness, I begin to find clarity not of circumstances, but of heart. I am not lost. Even if I do not have the map, I am not alone. Even if the room is empty, I am not forgotten. Even if the world moves on without noticing, you are here, and you are speaking. Maybe not with thunder, maybe not with fire, but with a whisper that still holds the power to part seas and calm storms. A whisper that reshapes my perspective and reminds me of who you are. A whisper that says I am loved, chosen, known, and never too far to be called back home. Let me carry this stillness with me into the noise of the day. Let me return to it again and again, not as escape, but as connection. Let it become the rhythm of how I live, not rushed, not reactive, but rooted. Thank you for not needing to raise your voice to be heard. Thank you for being patient when I have filled the space with my own noise. Thank you for the mercy of stillness, for the strength that comes from stopping, for the invitation to lean in and truly listen. Today, I choose to make room. Today, I choose to be quiet, not because I have nothing to say, but because I believe you do. Father, now that I have quieted my soul enough to hear your gentle voice, I find myself wondering how many times you were already speaking through the very things I questioned. How many times you were arranging the details I thought were random, guiding moments I assumed were delays, and building a foundation while I was too focused on what seemed unfinished. It humbles me to realize how much you have already been doing in the background, not because I asked perfectly or prayed with eloquence, but because you love me enough to plan with care even when I did not notice. This morning, the thought comes to me like a whisper that leave. What if there is a blueprint, not a rigid script that removes choice or humanity, but a divine design for who I am and what I am meant to become? A plan that has room for my detours, my doubts, my delays, and still, it holds. Still, it unfolds. And for the first time in a long time, I find peace in imagining that I am not building blind. I am not wandering aimlessly through a life that has no direction. You are the architect. You are the one who sees what I cannot. And somehow, you are using it all, every failure, every longing, every lesson for something beautiful. God, there is comfort in knowing you are not improvising. You are not scrambling to fix what I have broken. You are not reacting to my panic. You are steady, deliberate, wise beyond comprehension. You see the entire structure before a single beam is placed, and yet you still walk with me patiently as I figure out how to follow the design. You do not rush me. You do not shame me. You invite me to build with you, even if I only see one brick at a time. I may not know the full shape of what we are creating, but I trust the one holding the blueprint. I think of all the times I demanded clarity before I would take a step. I asked for guarantees before I moved, explanations before I surrendered. But now I am learning that faith is not born from certainty. It is born from relationship, from trusting the hands that hold the plan even when the plan is hidden from view. And the more I reflect on the moments where I hesitated, the more I realize that what I needed was not more information, it was more intimacy with you. I needed to remember that you are not only capable, you are intentional. You are not only powerful, you are purposeful. Lord, forgive me for assuming you were silent just because I did not see results. Forgive me for thinking you were not working just because I did not understand the timing. I am learning now that the blueprint is more than an outcome. It is a process, a way of being, a way of trusting. And as I stand here in the middle of my own unfinished story, I do not need to see the whole structure. I only need to be certain that you are the one designing it. That you are building something eternal within me, something stable and true, even if it feels fragile right now. There is a freedom that rises in me when I stop trying to be the one who knows everything. When I stop measuring my progress by how clear the road is and start measuring it by how close I am to you. If you are the one writing the plans, then I can stop panicking every time I feel behind. I can stop comparing my steps to those around me. I can stop forcing doors open that you never designed me to walk through. If you are the one laying the foundation, then I can trust even the pauses have a purpose. Even the waiting seasons are not wasted. They are the quiet setting of concrete, the unseen strength being formed beneath the surface. Help me let go of my addiction to clarity. Help me stop chasing control disguised as planning. Teach me the beauty of not knowing everything. Teach me to wake up each day and say, "What is the next small thing, Lord?" And then help me to do it with love, with intention, with joy, not because I understand where it is all going, but because I trust that you do. Let that trust become my rhythm. Let it shape the way I move through this day. Let it free me from the pressure to perform and replace it with the peace of walking with the Builder himself. I think about the way you made the world with detail, with order, with beauty born from dust. You did not rush it. You did not skip over any part of the process. And when you made me, you did the same. You knew my wiring, my weaknesses, my gifts, my fears. You saw every day before one of them came to be. You did not leave me to figure life out alone. You gave me access to you, to your spirit, to your wisdom, to your companionship. That is the greatest gift of all, not just a plan, but the planner walking beside me. So today, I surrender the illusion that I must have it all figured out. I release the grip on my own timeline. I let go of the fear that says if I do not hurry, I will miss something important. Because what is meant for me in your design cannot be missed. What is mine in your hands cannot be lost. And what is broken, you already accounted for. Nothing surprises you. Nothing is beyond your ability to redeem and repurpose. You are not trying to create something impressive. You are creating something holy. Let my trust in your blueprint change the way I carry myself. Let it slow my racing thoughts, soften my anxious striving, and give me courage to build one faithful brick at a time. Let it remind me that even when all I have is a glimpse of what might be, that glimpse is enough, because you are the one who holds the full vision. You are the one who never misplaces a single detail. And you are not in a hurry. You are not flustered. You are not hoping things work out. You already know they will. So I step into this day not with a map, but with a builder, not with answers, but with alignment. I no longer need to force every outcome, because I believe you are creating something I will one day look back on and say, only God could have done that. Until then, I build with faith. I build with grace. I build with you. Father, if trusting your blueprint brings peace, then why does part of me still cling so tightly to my own plans? As I sit with the quiet truth that you are the master builder, I also come face to face with something deeper, more difficult: my resistance to surrendering control. It is not loud or defiant. It is subtle, buried beneath the surface, but it is there. That small part of me that still believes I need to carry everything, manage everything, fix everything on my own. That whisper inside that says, if I do not hold it all together, who will? I carry the weight of my own will like it is survival. I grip it with both hands, even when it exhausts me, even when it steals my peace. I tell myself I trust you, but then I micromanage outcomes, worry about what is next, and obsess over things that were never mine to control in the first place. I have made decisions with clenched fists instead of open hands. I have chased clarity before seeking closeness. I have pushed forward when you were asking me to pause. And I have delayed when you were calling me to move. God, I am tired of playing the role I was never meant to play. Tired of trying to be the answer. The rescuer. The one who always knows what to do. That pressure is too heavy, and I was not built to bear it. Only you are strong enough to carry the full picture. Only you are wise enough to write the outcome. And yet, here I am, still struggling to fully release what I have been holding for too long. I do not want to pretend anymore. I do not want to say I trust you and then live like it all depends on me. I want to live free. Free from the burden of always being right. Free from the fear that surrender means failure. Free from the belief that letting go means giving up. Lord, help me face the truth about my own will. Not so I can drown in guilt, but so I can rise in grace. I see now how much energy I have spent trying to create a life I thought would make me safe, successful, accepted. But even in my best efforts, I have often ended up feeling more anxious, more distant, more hollow. Because when I lean on my own understanding, I build on shifting sand. When I pursue what I want without asking what you desire, I run the risk of achieving things that do not fulfill me. And when I measure my worth by how much I can control, I will always come up short. You never asked me to have it all figured out. You never demanded perfection. You asked for surrender. You asked for obedience. You asked for faith. And while those things are simple, they are not always easy. Because my will is strong, my pride runs deep. And sometimes, I confuse independence with strength. But I am learning that the greatest strength comes from yielding. That real courage is not in controlling everything, but in trusting you with everything. Break the illusion that I must be in charge. Break the fear that keeps me from releasing what was never mine to begin with. Break the lie that says my worth is tied to my performance. And in its place, build something better. Build a heart that breathes easier. Build a soul that walks lighter. Build a mind that no longer feels like it has to anticipate every possibility. Let me trade the burden of being in control for the beauty of being carried. Sometimes I think I am protecting myself by holding tight, that if I plan well enough, manage wisely enough, anticipate thoroughly enough, I will prevent pain or disappointment. But pain still comes. Disappointment still finds me. And the truth is, my striving has not saved me, it has only made me more tired. What has saved me, every single time, is your presence. Your faithfulness. Your gentle leading when I finally collapse into honesty and whisper that I need help. So here I am, again, laying down what I have picked back up, the expectations I have placed on myself, the timelines I have forced, the relationships I have tried to control, the image I have tried to protect. I set them down, not because they are unimportant, but because they are too important to carry alone. You care more deeply than I ever could. You see more clearly. You love more perfectly. And I want to live like I believe that. Let my will be shaped by yours. Not crushed. Not erased. But aligned. Let my desires be purified. not out of shame, but out of love. Let my dreams be surrendered, not because they are too big, because they are too precious to keep separate from you. I do not want a life I built without you. I want a life you built with me. Teach me what it means to be led, not driven. Teach me the freedom of following instead of forcing. Teach me to wait when you say wait, and to move when you say go, not because I have all the answers, but because I know the one who does. And in knowing you, I am beginning to know myself more clearly, not as a burdened builder, but as a beloved child. There is relief in admitting I need you. There is peace in knowing I do not have to figure it all out. There is joy in releasing what never fit in my hands to begin with. And there is strength in letting go. Not passive weakness, but holy strength, the kind that rises when my will finally bows to yours. So let this be the day I stop carrying what is crushing me. Let this be the morning I choose alignment over anxiety. Let this be the moment I unclench my fists and lift my hands, not in defeat, but in trust. Because I am learning that surrender is not the end of strength. It is where true strength begins. Not mine, yours. And I no longer want to stand in the way of that. I want to live inside of it. I want to breathe in the rhythm of grace and finally feel the weight lift. God. After laying down the weight of my own will, I find myself standing at the edge of a road I never meant to travel. I look around at where I am, not where I imagined. Not what I would have chosen. Not what I planned, and yet, something in me knows I am not lost. I may not understand how I arrived here, and I may not fully grasp what this path will lead to. But I sense that you are still in it. Even this unchosen path, with all its twists and unfamiliar scenery, holds something sacred, because you have not left me to walk it alone. I confess, Father, I have often measured the worth of my steps by how closely they matched my dreams. I have told myself that detours mean failure, that the unexpected is a sign of misdirection, that closed doors are punishments instead of protection. But I am beginning to believe that you are bigger than my detours, that you are not only present in the path I prayed for, but powerfully working in the one I did not anticipate. Maybe the holy ground is not just found where I succeed, but also where I surrender. Maybe what I called wrong turns were actually holy reroutes. This place I am in, it is not where I thought I would be. It does not look like the vision I used to hold with such certainty. There are losses I never accounted for, changes I never wanted, seasons I did not feel ready for. And yet, here I am, still breathing, still standing, still whispering prayers into the morning. That in itself feels like grace. You have carried me, even when I walked with questions louder than faith. You have sustained me, even when I doubted my ability to keep going. You have woven something quiet and holy into this path. Though I did not choose it, Lord, help me release the grief I feel over the path thought I should be on. The life I thought I would be living by now. The version of me I hoped would exist in this season. Let me lay that grief at your feet, not to pretend it does not matter, but to let it be held by hands that understand it completely. I do not want to carry disappointment like it defines me. I want to learn how to hold both the ache and the awe, to grieve what never was and still celebrate what is. Because even here, even now, you are doing something good. I can see glimpses of it, even if I can name it yet. In the way you have softened my heart, in the way you have deepened my compassion, in the way you have opened my eyes to things I never would have noticed on a smoother road. This path, though uninvited, has shaped me in ways that nothing else could. It has stripped me of pride, of assumptions, of illusions of control, and in the hollow places left behind, you have planted seeds of something more enduring, faith that is not based on circumstance, hope that is not tied to outcome, love that does not require explanation. I used to think the right path would always feel easy, that if I were aligned with your will, the road would be smooth, the signs would be clear, the journey would be joyful. But I am learning now that holiness is not always comfortable, that obedience does not always come with instant clarity, that sometimes the most sacred paths are the ones that require me to walk by faith, not by sight. And when I do, when I choose to keep going even with a trembling heart, I discover you in new ways. I find that you are not waiting at the destination. You are walking with me through every uncertain step. Help me to bless this road, even if I did not choose it. Help me to stop waiting for the next chapter before I start honoring this one. Let me be present here not in fear or regret, but in reverence. You are not confined to the life I imagined. You are not only moving in the answers I hoped for, you are active in the unplanned, the interrupted, the rerouted. And if you are here, then this path is not a mistake. It is holy ground, simply because your footsteps are on it too. Show me how to walk through today with open hands, not gripping what I have lost, but holding space for what you might still give. Let me see beauty without needing to understand its origin. Let me find joy even where sorrow tried to steal it. Let me trust that if I keep walking with you, the path will not only lead somewhere worth going, it will shape me into someone worth becoming. I may never know why things happened the way they did, but I can know that nothing is wasted in your hands. God, if I am honest, there are days I still long for the old path, the one that felt clearer, easier, more familiar. But I have come far enough now to know that going back is not the answer. You are not behind me in the past I can change. You are ahead of me, drawing me forward into something I never could have crafted on my own. And so, I turn my face toward what is, and I ask you to keep leading me, even through the valleys I did not expect. Let this day be marked not by regret for the path I did not get, but by reverence for the one I am on. Let me walk it not with bitterness, but with quiet wonder. Let me carry not the weight of what could have been, but the hope of what still can be. Because if you are with me, then this path is not lesser. It is not broken. It is not lost. It is simply different, and different does not mean unworthy. Let me honor this version of my story. Let me see that what I call a detour, you call destiny. Let me believe that even in this path not chosen, you are still writing something worthy. Something beautiful. Something holy. Let me step into this day with the quiet confidence that even when life feels off course, your hand is never unsure. You know exactly where I am, and you are not finished with me yet. Father, if you are still writing my story on this path I never planned, then I ask you to teach me how to listen for your voice when it calls me to change direction. Because even now, as I try to walk with reverence and openness, I know how easy it is to drift toward what feels familiar. Even when you are nudging me towards something new, my heart longs to stay close to you, but my feet sometimes follow old patterns. Worn habits. The illusion of safety that comes from staying where it is comfortable. Still, I believe you are the voice that interrupts the drift and lovingly calls me home to what is better, even if it is harder. God, sometimes your redirection does not come like a trumpet blast. It comes quietly in unease in my spirit, a restlessness I can't explain, a door that gently closes even as I try to push it back open. Other times it feels sudden, like everything is turned upside down and I am left wondering where the ground went beneath me. But no matter how it comes, I am learning that your redirection is not punishment, it is protection. It is not rejection, it is redemptive. You are not trying to take something away from me. You are guiding me into something deeper, something more aligned with who you created me to be. Lord, I confess there have been times I ignored the gentle tug of your spirit because I did not want to let go. I was afraid of what I might lose, afraid of looking foolish, afraid of stepping into the unknown without a guarantee. But the longer I walk with you, the more I see that redirection is part of love. You are not passive in my life. You are present and involved and faithful enough to intervene when I start settling for less than what you intended. You see the full picture when all I can see is the next step. And even when I resist, even when I hesitate, you keep inviting me into better things. Father, I ask you to give me ears that recognize your voice, even when it whispers. Give me discernment that is not clouded by fear or pride or the desire to please others. Teach me how to pause and pay attention when something does not sit right in my spirit. Help me not to push past the discomfort. That might be your way of getting my attention. And when you ask me to pivot, to reroute, to begin again, let me respond not with resistance, but with trust. Let me believe that you are not trying to confuse me, but to lead me more clearly into purpose. There are moments when I have walked far in one direction, poured time and energy and heart into a path, and then you speak and say, "Turn." Those moments are hard. They feel like loss, like failure, like giving up. But I am learning to see them differently. I am learning that sometimes grace looks like being stopped. Sometimes mercy looks like redirection before the road ends in regret. And if you are the one speaking, then I want to be someone who responds not eventually, not after I have exhausted every other option, but with a heart that says yes before it sees the full map. God, thank you for the times you redirected me, even when I did not understand, for the doors that did not open, the relationships that ended, the plans that fell apart. I used to think those moments were disruptions. Now I see them as deliverance. You have saved me from things I was not meant to carry, from places I was not meant to stay, from identities I was never meant to wear. You have been a shepherd in every valley and a lighthouse in every storm. Even when I walked a long way in the wrong direction, you never shamed me. You simply called my name and waited until I was ready to return. Let me walk forward with a heart that is open to change. Not change for the sake of movement, but change that aligns with your will. I want to follow your voice, even when it leads me down unfamiliar roads. I want to live responsive and flexible, not rigid and afraid. I want to be a person who hears and moves, who trusts even when it means leaving behind what once made sense. You are not confined by my plans. You are not limited by my expectations. You are always doing something new, and I want to have eyes to see it, ears to hear it, and courage to follow where it leads. Lord, help me to release my grip on what no longer fits this season. Help me not to confuse comfort with calling. Sometimes what once felt right becomes a barrier to what is truly best. And I do not want to miss what you are doing now, because I am still holding on to what you did then. Let me walk in step with the present move of your Spirit. Let me recognize the holy disruption that leads to holy redirection. And let me not fear the unfamiliar, because if you are in it, it will always lead me closer to who I am in you. Show me how to discern between the voice of fear and the voice of wisdom. Let me not mistake anxiety for intuition or stubbornness for faith. When your voice speaks with peace, let me not drown it out with my own noise. When you gently redirect, let me not argue. Let me lean in. Let me trust the tone. I have come to know the tone that calls me out of chaos and into order, out of striving and into rest, out of confusion and into clarity. There is a deep humility in being willing to change direction, not because I failed, but because I am being led. Not because I got it wrong, but because you are showing me something better. That is what I want now, to walk with you moment by moment, aware enough to notice when your Spirit prompts me to turn, still enough to hear when you whisper, and bold enough to go where you say, even if I do not yet understand the reason. Let this day be one of listening. Let this day be one of softness, of trust, of realignment. I do not want to cling to what I think is right if you are pointing me somewhere else. I do not want to follow my own sense of timing if you are asking me to wait or to move sooner. I want to be available to the rhythm of heaven, not the pressure of this world. I want to move at the pace of grace, not the rush of fear. So here I am again, open, willing, aware that my journey will require more than intention. It will require attention. Let me be attentive to the ways you speak today. Through interruptions, through silence, through a conversation, through a shift in my heart I did not expect. Let me hear you clearly, and let that hearing become movement, not just understanding. Because if you are the one who redirects, then wherever you are leading me is already holy, and I want to follow you there. Lord, as I continue to follow your voice, as I respond to each gentle redirection, I begin to sense something stirring beneath the surface, something I cannot quite name, but feel growing nonetheless. It is as if every small act of obedience, every whisper of yes, every decision to trust instead of fear is planting something deep within me. I do not always see immediate change. I do not always feel different right away. But still, something is taking root. Something sacred is being sown into the soil of my ordinary days. And for the first time, I am learning to believe that every step I take with you carries the weight and wonder of a seed. Father, I used to think only the big moments mattered, the breakthrough decisions, the bold leaps of faith, the prayers that shook me to tears. Thought the loudest expressions of devotion were the most fruitful. But now I see how easily I overlook the quiet, faithful steps that never made headlines in my heart. The mornings I chose to pray when I felt nothing. The times I forgave when no one said thank you. The days I showed up for my responsibilities, even when my soul felt weary. All of those moments, unnoticed and uncelebrated, were seeds too. Seeds that you saw, seeds you watered, seeds you never wasted. I wonder how many harvests in my life began with a hidden yes. How many blessings bloomed from ground I almost left barren because I could not see what was happening beneath. Your kingdom does not work like mine. It does not demand applause or immediate proof. It asks for trust, for faithfulness, for movement even when the result is invisible. And so now, I am learning to walk differently, not with urgency or self-imposed pressure, but with quiet awareness that each step matters more than I know. God, help me to stop measuring impact by what I can see. Help me stop asking, what difference does it make when I am being faithful to what you have asked? Teach me to value consistency over intensity. Teach me to find purpose in process. I want to be someone who understands that fruit does not grow overnight, that depth is formed over time, and that you are never in a rush with me. You are not impatient when growth is slow. You do not abandon seeds in the dark. You tend to them gently, in silence, in shadows, in ways I might never understand until much later. There is such freedom in knowing that nothing is wasted, not my waiting, not my wondering, not even my weakness. If I give it to you, you make it count. You gather every tear, every prayer, every act of surrender, and you fold it into something eternal. I may not see the full bloom in this season, but I trust that something holy is happening under the surface, and that is enough to keep going. Lord, I want to be someone who sows generously, not cautiously, who gives love freely, without needing to know if it will be returned, who forgives completely, not just when it feels fair, who prays boldly, even when the answers are slow. Let my life be marked by the kind of faith that trusts the soil. Let me believe that every sacrifice matters, even if it looks small. Let me trust that you are the one who brings the increase, in your time, in your way. When I am tempted to stop showing up because the progress feels invisible, remind me that seeds do not shout their growth. They break silently beneath the ground. They stretch in darkness before they ever reach the light. So it is with my heart. So it is with my healing. So it is with every part of this journey that feels hidden. Just because I can see the outcome does not mean nothing is happening. Just because I have not arrived does not mean you are not leading. And just because it is quiet does not mean it is not holy. Help me see this day differently, not as another routine to survive, but as sacred ground to sow in. Let my words be seeds, words of kindness, of encouragement, of truth. Let my silence be seeds to choosing peace instead of argument, choosing stillness over noise. Let my decisions reflect a heart that believes what I do matters, not because it is flashy or public, but because you are in it, because you are watching, receiving, multiplying what I offer, even if no one else notices. Father, I offer you my steps today, no matter how small they feel. The conversation I will have with someone who is hurting, the effort I will make to stay present with those I love, the patience I will choose instead of snapping, the grace I will extend to myself when I fall short. All of it is yours. All of it is seed. And even when I do not feel spiritual or strong, I will still walk by faith, believing that you are cultivating something in me that will bear fruit in time. Let me never underestimate the power of faithful movement. Let me walk with expectancy, not because I demand instant results, but because I know you are too faithful to let anything go to waste. I do not need to know how or when the harvest will come. I just need to keep sowing, keep showing up, keep trusting that what I place in your hands today will become something beautiful tomorrow. There is something deeply reassuring about knowing that I do not have to be extraordinary. I just have to be willing. Willing to take the next step. Willing to trust that the small things are not insignificant. Willing to keep choosing you over and over again. That willingness is enough for you to work with. That simple offering, placed in your hands, becomes holy. And when I live with that awareness, even the most mundane parts of my day take on new meaning. So teach me to walk slow enough to notice the seeds, to cherish the chance to plant something good instead of rushing to harvest something grand. Teach me to see interruptions as opportunities to love, to be generous with my time, and to honor the quiet work you are doing in others too. Let me celebrate faithfulness in myself and in those around me. Let me be the kind of person who calls out the beauty in beginnings, who believes in the promise of what is yet to bloom. God, I trust you with what I cannot see. I trust you with the buried things, the unfinished things, the unseen things. I trust you with the steps I take today, believing they are not in vain. Let every one of them be a seed of faith, and let the ground beneath me be full of promise, simply because you are walking beside me. Father, if every step with you is a seed, then I am beginning to realize that the soil of that seed is not always extraordinary. More often than not, it is ordinary. It is the simple, quiet, often overlooked places of my life that hold the greatest potential for miracles. The truth is, I used to chase the big moments, the dramatic answers, the unmistakable signs. I used to think that your presence was best revealed in the bold, the bright, the breathtaking. But you are showing me something gentler, something deeper, how you often choose to reveal yourself, not in spectacle, but in subtlety. God, thank you for helping me see that the sacred is not reserved for special occasions. It is woven into my routines, resting in the details, waiting in the pauses I usually rush through. The miracle is not always a sudden breakthrough or a blinding revelation. Sometimes it is the grace that meets me as I fold laundry, the peace that comes while I drive to work, the warmth I feel when I make eye contact with someone and remember they are deeply loved too. These are not small things. They are holy. They are moments that shimmer with your presence, even when they do not sparkle loud enough for the world to applaud. Help me, Lord, to stop rushing past the places where you are waiting for me. Help me to notice what I have ignored. The smile of a stranger that lifts the heaviness of a day. The quiet strength in my own body that keeps showing up. Even when my mind is tired, the comfort of a sunrise that says, "You are not starting alone." The cup of coffee shared in silence. The deep breath after a hard conversation. These are not coincidences. These are love notes from you, daily reminders that you are not far off, not aloof, not only dwelling in the miraculous, but deeply invested in the mundane. There is something so healing in learning that I do not have to chase a feeling to find you. I do not need a mountaintop moment to know you are near. You are in my kitchen, in my inbox, in the repetitive motions I once resented. And when I shift my attention, even slightly, I begin to see it, that glow of purpose hiding behind the familiar. That gentle whisper saying, "I am here. I have been here. I never left." Even in the places that feel too plain to matter. I think about how Jesus chose the ordinary so often. Bread and fish, dust and spit, water in jars. He never needed grandeur to perform glory. And you do not either. You transform the humble. You anoint the everyday. You turn the overlooked into overflow. That changes how I want to live. I do not want to wait for some future moment to recognize your hand. I want to see it now, in this moment, in this breath, in this chore, in this pause. Lord, give me eyes that see wonder in the repetitive. Let me greet familiar places with fresh awe. Let me enter the small tasks with an open heart, believing that no moment is wasted when lived with you. Even the routines I have grown numb to can become sacred if I invite you into them. Let nothing be too ordinary for your glory. Let no minute be too quiet for your voice. Let the monotony of today become the meeting ground for transformation, not because the world sees it, but because you are in it. Sometimes I catch myself feeling like I am behind, as if I should be doing more, producing more, achieving more. But then I remember that you never called me to be impressive. You called me to be faithful. And sometimes faithfulness looks like choosing to see beauty in the ordinary instead of resenting it. Sometimes it means preparing another meal, answering another email, making another bed, speaking another word of encouragement, all without applause, without acknowledgement, without visible reward. Yet every one of those actions, when done with love, becomes a seed of divine presence. God, thank you for reminding me that I do not have to escape my life to find you. I just need to pay attention. I need to be present, fully here, fully awake, even in the quiet. Especially in the quiet, that is where I hear you clearest. That is where I sense the miracle. I have been missing the miracle of enough. Enough grace for today. enough strength for the next step, enough joy to lift my gaze, enough purpose in the present moment to keep me rooted. Let me carry this awareness through my day. Let me infuse every task with the knowledge that it matters, that wiping down a counter can be as holy as singing a hymn if my heart is turned toward you. That loving my neighbor looks like showing up, not showing off. That washing dishes with gratitude is worship. That silence can be as sacred as song. That walking the dog, folding the clothes, making the call, all of it becomes ministry when it is done in love. Lord, shift my perspective. Where I see dull repetition, show me deep invitation. Where I feel weary, show me wonder. Where I expect nothing, teach me to expect you. Not because I need to create magic out of everything, but because I want to stop missing the beauty that is already here. You are here, and if you are, then this moment is alive with possibility. Even if no one else sees it, let today be full of sacred pauses. Let me slow down enough to feel gratitude rise. Let me listen well. Speak gently. Move intentionally. Let me not rush through conversations or tasks as if they are obstacles to get past. Let me enter them as opportunities to love well, to be present, to plant peace. And even if I reach the end of the day and nothing feels spectacular, let me lie down knowing that the sacred was not in what I accomplished, but in how I walked with you through each simple thing. I do not want to live waiting for the next big thing to validate my faith. I want to live like each breath is proof that you are good, like every small act of kindness is a ripple that reaches further than I will ever know. Like every unnoticed moment matters because it was touched by eternity when you stepped into it with me. This is how I want to live, with a reverence for the ordinary, with joy in the simple, with deep belief that the miracle is already here. It always was, it always will be. And today, I choose to see it. Father, now that I have begun to recognize the miracle in the mundane, I can finally admit how hard it has been for me to wait. Not because I do not believe in you, not because I doubt your promises, but because I am learning that waiting is one of the most active things my soul will ever do. And it rarely feels like it. It rarely looks like movement. But somehow, it changes me more than the seasons where everything seems to fall into place. God, I used to think waiting meant standing still, doing nothing, wasting time. I feared the pause. I feared the in-between. I feared what it would say about me to not be progressing, not be producing, not be reaching the next thing. But now I am beginning to understand that waiting is not absence. It is presence. It is intentional space carved out by your hand to form me, not punish me. It is the work you do deep within me that prepares me for what I cannot yet see. Lord, sometimes you ask me to wait, not because you are withholding, but because you are aligning my heart with your heart, my expectations with your truth, my desires with your timing. And even when my instincts want to resist, I am choosing to believe that the delays I experience are not detours from purpose, but part of it. That this season where so much feels slow is not empty, it is sacred. In the waiting, I learn to listen. In the stillness, I learn to trust. In the quiet, I begin to hear the rhythm of your voice more clearly, and though my flesh may scream for answers and action, my spirit knows this is where growth happens, underneath the surface, beyond what the eye can measure, like roots stretching deeper, like seeds pressing through unseen layers of earth. You are forming something strong and lasting in me. Father, I do not want to rush what you are doing. I do not want to tear open the process just to feel a sense of movement. Let me be more committed to becoming than arriving. Let me stay in the slow places long enough for real transformation to take root. Let me welcome this space instead of resenting it. Teach me how to wait well, not with passivity, not with anxiety, but with trust that breathes deep and says, I am still moving, even when I do not see the road shift beneath my feet. Help me resist the pressure to prove myself in the meantime, temptation to manufacture progress, to pretend everything is fine when my heart still feels fragile. You are not asking me to perform through the weight. You are asking me to stay open, to stay grounded, to stay willing to sit in this tension with you. And when I do, I find that you are not just at the end of the wait. You are here in the middle of it, offering peace I could not have known any other way. Lord, I am learning that faith is not always fast. Sometimes it looks like showing up to another day with no news and still praying anyway. Sometimes it looks like making the same choice to trust again and again without seeing a different result. And yet, somehow, those repetitions become holy. Somehow, that daily surrender becomes a rhythm of grace that carries me forward in ways I won't recognize until much later. Remind me that just because nothing seems to be changing on the outside does not mean you are not changing everything inside. Remind me that waiting is not weakness. It is courage. It takes strength to stay instead of run. It takes discipline to remain soft instead of growing bitter. And it takes love to choose hope over cynicism when the wait feels long and the world keeps moving ahead. God, give me new eyes to see this time differently. Let me stop asking how long and start asking what now. What are you showing me today that I would have missed if the answer had come yesterday? What parts of me are becoming stronger, softer, deeper because I have stayed in this space instead of forcing an exit? Let me lean into that mystery without needing to resolve it. Let me be faithful here, present here, willing to keep showing up even when the payoff is not visible yet. There is something powerful about learning to wait and still love, wait and still serve, wait and still worship, because in doing so, I declare that you are not only God of the finish line, you are God of every mile in between. And if the goal is intimacy with you, then the waiting is not a pause from life, it is life. A life where you draw me closer, stretch my endurance, expand my vision, and quiet the noise long enough for your whispers to take root. Help me honor this pace. Help me embrace the beauty of slow, the goodness of ordinary, the faithfulness of routine. Let me not confuse motion with meaning or speed with strength. Let me not assume that momentum is always visible. Sometimes the most powerful shifts happen in the heart, beneath the surface, where only you can see, and that is enough. Let my prayers not be rushed demands, but honest conversations. Let my heart not be a ticking clock, but a steady drum that trusts your rhythm. Let me walk with open hands, not clenched fists. Let me loosen my grip on what I think should be and receive what is, knowing that nothing escapes your attention. You are present in every delay, every silence, every unanswered question, and you are not done with me yet. Father, I choose to believe that this season is not a holding cella, it is a holy preparation. That I am not stuck, I am being strengthened. That my life is not on pause, it is being positioned for something I cannot yet imagine. And even if this season lasts longer than I thought it would, I will not waste it. I will live it. I will listen. I will grow. I will rest. I will believe that the fruit will come, not because I force it, but because you are faithful. Let waiting become worship. Let silence become sanctuary. Let slowness become sacred. Let this ordinary morning become evidence that movement is not always about motion. Sometimes it is about direction, about presence, about staying the course with a heart that trusts, even when the finish line is not in sight. And so I wait not passively, but prayerfully, not fearfully, but faithfully, because waiting with you is never wasted time. It is the holy place where my heart learns to trust without needing to see. Father, as I linger in this place of quiet surrender, something within me begins to deepen, not through sudden revelation, but through the steady rhythm of learning to trust you more than I trust my own understanding. The waiting has softened me, but it has also stretched me. I am starting to feel like a tree planted beside waters I cannot see but know are there. The deeper I sink my roots, the more I realize how much I have been held all along, even when I felt suspended in the unknown. God, I see now that trust is not an emotion I wait to feel. It is a decision I return to, over and over again. In the stillness, I choose it, not because everything makes sense, but because you remain the same when nothing else does. Trusting you does not always silence my questions, but it gives me the courage to live without needing all the answers. It shifts my posture from clenched fists to open hands, from anxious striving to peaceful rest. Lord, I confess that trust used to feel like weakness to me. I thought it meant letting go of control in a world that demands certainty. But you are showing me the opposite, that trust is strength. It is not passive surrender. It is active release. It is the powerful declaration that you are good even when life is not predictable. It is the quiet courage to say, I do not know what tomorrow brings, but I trust the one who holds it. And in that surrender, I am beginning to see how many things I have tried to carry alone, burdens I picked up, assuming I had to be strong for everyone, fears I buried because I did not think they had a place in prayer. But you are not afraid of my heaviness. You do not flinch at my doubts. You do not turn away from my trembling. Instead, you reach for it all. You ask me to bring the full weight of my heart, and you do not demand that I tidy it up first. So here it is, Father, every unanswered prayer, every disappointment I did not speak aloud, every silent fear I have nursed in the night, I place them before you not to be fixed instantly, but to be held in the arms of a God who does not rush healing, who does not shame weakness, who does not run from pain. You sit with me in it, and somehow, that presence begins to shift everything. I remember now that trust does not require evidence, only faithfulness. You have shown up in every chapter of my life, even when I did not see it until later. You have carried me through storms I thought would break me. You have stitched hope into the fabric of my sorrow. And if you were faithful then, you will be faithful now, not in ways I always expect, but in ways that will make me whole. God, help me resist the urge to measure trust by how much I feel in control. Let me measure it instead by how much I release into your care. Let me trust you with my plans, my pace, my people, my path. Not because I have figured it all out, but because I trust you to lead me through even what I cannot predict or prepare for. Let me live in the freedom of knowing I am not required to foresee every outcome. Sometimes I imagine trust as a deep river. It is not a place I stand beside and contemplate from the safety of the shore. It is a place I step into, even when the current feels strong, even when the bottom is too far to reach, even when I can see what lies ahead. Trust is letting the water carry me, not aimlessly, but toward you, even if it feels like I am floating with no direction. I know you are the one who charts the course, and when the world tempts me with false certainty offering noise, distraction, and control, I come back to this river. I return to the quiet place where I choose trust again, not because I have lost my way, but because this is the only way. To surrender the illusion of having it all figured out, to cling not to the outcome but to you, to believe that what you are building in me is deeper than what I can explain to others. Father, I do not want to live guarded anymore. I want to trust you enough to live open, to love fully, to hope boldly, to give without calculation, to serve without fear, because trust is not safe in the way the world defines safety, but it is holy, it is alive. It keeps me from shrinking into myself. It calls me into something greater than comfort, into communion with you, with purpose, with peace. Even now, I see how trust transforms my vision. I stop asking, when will it happen? And start asking, what are you doing in me right now? I stop demanding that the pieces make sense and start noticing how you are working through the chaos, through the detours, through the long nights, through the empty spaces. Trust lets me see the fingerprints of heaven on things I once resented. So as I move into this day, I choose to trust again in the decisions I have to make, in the situations I can control, in the relationships I want to heal, in the dreams I hold quietly in my heart. I place them into your hands, knowing they are safest there, and when the uncertainty creeps back in, I won't panic. I will return to this place, to this posture, to this river, because I was never meant to carry it all on my own. God, you are not asking for perfect confidence. You are asking for willing surrender. You are not waiting for me to get stronger before I lean on you. You are inviting me to lean now right here, as I am, in my questions, in my process, in my hopes, in my weariness, because trust is not a destination. It is a daily walk with you, hand in hand, heart to heart. Even when nothing changes, trust changes me. It changes how I breathe, how I respond, how I love. It becomes the lens through which I see this moment, not as a test, but as an invitation to know you more deeply, to depend on you more freely, to walk through life not as one constantly striving, but as one quietly assured because you are who you say you are. And if you are good, then today will carry goodness, even if it is wrapped in mystery. If you are faithful, then this path I am on is not random. If you are near, then I am never alone. That is enough. That is the ground on which I will stand. That is the river in which I will rest. That is the truth I will return to again and again. When everything else tries to convince me otherwise, trust is not easy, but it is holy. And today, I choose it again. Lord, now that trust has found deeper soil within me, I begin to see places I had long hidden, not from you, for nothing escapes your sight, but from myself. There are wounds I have buried beneath years of survival, scars I covered with smiles, fractures I learned to walk on without ever tending. And yet, in this quiet communion, you invite me not just to acknowledge them, but to let you touch them. It flows naturally from the trust you have cultivated in me, because now I believe you are not a distant observer of my pain, but a gentle physician of my soul. You do not recoil at the mess of my heart. You do not flinch when I finally show you the bruised places, the cracked memories, the moments I vowed never to revisit. Instead, you kneel beside them. You sit in the rubble, and you whisper healing where I once thought only silence remained. God, I am learning that healing is not an event. It is not a grand moment of instant deliverance. It is often slow, almost imperceptible, like light creeping through closed blinds. It is your presence soaking into the hardened soil of my pain, softening what had turned to stone. It is grace meeting memory, mercy to touching trauma, love rewriting the script that shame had etched in bold. I bring you my emotional wounds, the ones others cannot see, the childhood fears I never outgrew, the betrayals that still echo in my trust, the words spoken over me that I absorbed like truths, though they were lies, the rejection I carried like a second skin, the guilt I could not shed, the grief that still aches. And I do not bring them to you to analyze or justify. I bring them because I can't carry them alone anymore. Lord, how many times have I patched myself up and called it healing? How often have I moved on, but never moved through? How many places in me are still bleeding beneath the surface? And yet, you do not shame me for what is still raw. You do not measure me by my progress. You simply call me to come, just as I am. And in your presence, even brokenness becomes holy. I sense your healing in unexpected ways. In the breath I did not know I was holding. In the tears I finally allowed to fall. In the permission to feel without fear. In the moments when I forgive not to forget, but to be free. You are not rushing me. You are walking with me. And that changes everything. It makes the process sacred. Father, I know now that some wounds do not vanish overnight. Some healing will take time. Years even. But if you are with me in it, then I can be patient with the journey. I can allow the slow miracle of restoration. I can stop comparing my progress to others and instead celebrate the simple fact that I am no longer ignoring the pain, that I am no longer pretending I am fine when I am not. Even now, I feel you gently uncovering what I had kept buried, not to expose me to shame, but to liberate me from it. You do not bring up the past to punish me, but to restore what was stolen there. You turn wounds into wells, places where living water flows, places where empathy is born, where compassion is shaped, where testimony is formed. I surrender my self-protection. I lay down the armor I once thought necessary, because your love is a safer shield. Your presence is a softer place to land. I do not need to hide behind strength anymore. I do not need to wear perfection as a mask. I can be real here. I can be undone and still deeply beloved. You meet me in the H. You dwell with me in the unraveling. You place your hand where it hurts most and remind me that you are not just the God who sees. I am the one you stay with, the one you do not abandon in the middle of the storm, the one you gently lead, not just to healing, but to wholeness. Lord, let your healing move through every part of me, through the memories I try to forget, through the relationships that still sting, through the thoughts that spiral when I am alone, through the habits I formed to numb the pain, through the beliefs I built around survival, through the walls I erected to keep from being hurt again. Touch it all. Father, I give you permission to go deeper, and as you heal me, teach me to be tender with myself, to not demand perfection, but to celebrate progress, to not fear the slow work, but to recognize that deep healing often comes in layers. Teach me to honor what you are doing in silence, to recognize the holy work that happens in hidden places, to trust that every tear you collect, every groan you interpret, every H you notice is part of the transformation. I believe you are the God who restores, not just fixes, but makes new. You do not give me back what I lost in the same shape, but you redeem it with purpose. You turn sorrow into strength. You give beauty for ashes. You use the very places I thought would disqualify me to become platforms for your glory. So I won't rush this, Lord. I will remain in this sacred space, where honesty is welcome and healing is unfolding. I will breathe deeply. I will listen closely. I will stop trying to prove I am okay and let you make me whole. This, too, is part of the morning. This, too, is holy ground, and in this quiet place of tenderness, I trust that you are doing what only you can do, mending what I cannot mend, loving me in ways I never knew I needed, and gently calling me forward not with demands, but with delight, because I am not just being healed, I am being transformed. And that is the miracle I carry with me into the light of day. Lord, as I continue in this sacred space where your healing touched the deepest parts of my soul, I begin to realize that restoration is not just about mending what was broken, but also about walking in the light of what is now made whole. There is a quiet shift, like dawn stretching wider across the sky. It is not loud. It does not come with thunder, but it is steady. It is real, and I feel it changing the way I move through the world. I am no longer trying to survive the day. I am learning to live it fully, openly, with the awareness that I am held by something greater than pain, held by you. There was a time when I thought healing was the end of the story. But now I see it as the beginning of a new one. A story where I no longer define myself by what happened to me, but by the one who met me in it. A story where I am not marked by my damage, but by your mercy, where I do not keep rehearsing what was lost, but begin discovering what has always been waiting: peace, joy, purpose, and the steady confidence of walking beside you. God, you are not just the one who binds wounds. You are the one who teaches me to walk again, differently, deliberately, with grace in my step and hope in my heart. The limp I once feared would shame me has become the sign of a journey taken with you, and I realize that the deeper the wound, the brighter your glory shines through it, not because I am strong, but because I am surrendered, because I am no longer hiding, no longer resisting, no longer pretending. This wholeness you give is not perfection. It is presence. It is alignment with who you say I am. I can breathe differently now. Speak differently. Respond differently. Because I carry something new, a softness born from surrender, a strength born from stillness, a perspective widened by grace. I used to rush past mornings like they were obstacles. Now, I receive them like gifts, because each new day is another chance to choose wholeness over hiding, truth over fear, joy over numbness. Lord, show me how to walk in this new way, not in pride, but in peace, not with burden, but with awareness. Let me become familiar with the sound of my own voice, unburdened by shame. Let me grow used to lifting my eyes, not in search of escape, but to see what you are doing around me. Let my hands be quick to bless. Let my words reflect the healing you have begun. Let my silence carry substance, not avoidance. Let me become a person who brings peace wherever I go, because I have learned what it means to carry it within. There is a holiness in this becoming, a reverence in recognizing that every small step matters, and even when I falter, you do not withdraw, you steady me. You remind me that walking in wholeness does not mean I will never feel pain again. It means I do not face it alone, that I have learned where to go when the weight returns, that I have built a rhythm of resting in you, that my worth no longer depends on how put together I appear, but on how present I am with you. God, help me to not just receive healing, but to live healed, to let it transform the way I show up in relationships, the way I set boundaries, the way I forgive. Let it shape my posture, my priorities, my pace. Let it teach me that slowness is not failure, that gentleness is not weakness, that joy is not naive. Let me live like someone who knows they are loved, even when the world forgets to say it. Let me walk like someone who has nothing to prove, because I am already approved by you. And in those moments when old fears whisper again, when familiar shame tries to return, when I am tempted to pick up the burdens I laid down, meet me there. Lord, remind me that I have been changed, that the old patterns no longer define me, that I do not need to earn peace. I only need to return to it, that the same grace that met me in the dark is still holding me now in the light. I want to honor the healing you have given by living it out, not just in quiet moments alone, but in the way I carry myself into every part of the day. I want to be a witness not with grand gestures, but with daily faithfulness, with eyes that see beauty, with words that bring comfort, with presence that makes room for others to heal too. Because you did not restore me to keep it to myself. You made me whole so I could walk with others through their own valleys, not with answers, but with empathy. Thank you for trusting me with this new beginning. Thank you for not rushing me, but also not letting me stay stuck. Thank you for every whisper that called me forward, for every nudge that reminded me I am more than what hurt me. Thank you for walking with me still, for not just watching from above, but moving beside me as I learn to live this new way. And so, I rise today not with fear, but with a quiet fire in my spirit. I rise knowing I am not who I was. I rise with the memory of pain. Yes, but more than that, with the reality of your presence that pulled me through. I rise not just to exist, but to embody the grace that saved me, to reflect the healing that touched me, to carry the peace that now lives inside me. This is what it means to walk in wholeness, and with each step, I remember I am yours. Father, as the light of morning filters gently through the silence, I step forward from the place where healing became my testimony into the vast expanse of purpose that awaits beyond it. I do not carry yesterday's weight, for your grace lifted it. I do not cling to old fears, for your love has replaced them. I simply bring my open heart, ready to be led, willing to be used, and eager to reflect your goodness in every corner of this new day. The road ahead may twist and rise, but I know now that wholeness is not a destination. It is the manner in which I walk with you. There is a stirring within me that feels like the gentle rhythm of dawn, persistent and full of promise. Not every question has an answer. Not every pain has vanished. But there is peace in this unfolding. My hands are no longer closed fists gripping what I thought I needed. They are open now, prepared to serve, to receive, to offer kindness with no expectation. This, I am learning, is what it means to live beyond survival, to live as someone who belongs to you. God, you have called me by name. You have whispered to the places in me that doubted their worth. And now, having tasted the goodness of your presence, I long to make something of this day that honors you. Let my feet find the paths where love is needed most. Let my eyes recognize those who walk alone. Let my words carry comfort and my presence carry peace. Not because I know all things, but because I carry you with me. There is no need for grand platforms or recognition. My purpose does not need to be public to be powerful. A soft word spoken at the right moment, a burden shared in silence, a gesture of forgiveness. These are sacred acts, bathed in the light of eternity. You have shown me that purpose is not performance. It is obedience. It is the quiet, daily yes to what love requires. I remember now the many days I wandered, searching for meaning, questioning if I mattered. And yet, here I am, standing in the aftermath of grace, realizing I was never lost to you. Even in the wandering, you watched over me. Even when I closed my heart, You kept knocking. Even when I doubted the sound of your voice, you kept speaking. And now, as I listen closely, I can hear you not in the thunder, but in the stillness. Lord, help me to live today not for the applause of people, but for the joy of pleasing you. Let that be enough. Let it be more than enough. Give me the courage to show up with authenticity, even when it feels vulnerable. Give me the patience to sow seeds I may never see bloom. Let me work not from striving, but from trust. Let me rest in the assurance that what I do with you is never wasted, never unseen. Purpose, I am learning, does not rush. It is not frenzied or loud. It is a sacred flow that moves at the speed of grace. Let me not despise the small things, the quiet acts of compassion, the behind-the-scenes faithfulness, the invisible sacrifices, for you see all. You bless what is hidden when it is holy. You multiply what is given in surrender. So I bring you what I have this day, this breath, this willingness, and ask that you would shape for something that reflects your kingdom. I do not need to understand every detail. I do not need a clear map. I just need to follow the light of your presence, one obedient step at a time. You have brought me through fire, through fear, through the shadowed valleys. And now, on the other side, you place purpose in my hands, not as a heavy assignment, but as a divine invitation to join you in healing the world, one encounter at a time. Father, in the quiet of this morning, I give you access to all I am. My strengths, my wounds, my stories, my silence. Use what you will, remove what you must, build what reflects your glory. Let nothing in me resist what you are forming. Let no part of me cling to what you have already asked me to release. Shape my purpose not by the standards of the world, but by the heartbeat of heaven. I want to walk through this day with sensitivity to your nudges. I want to pause when you ask me to notice. I want to speak when you give me words, and stay silent when presence is enough. Let purpose be a conversation with you, not a performance for others. Let every task, no matter how small, become a chance to echo your love, whether I am seen or unseen. May my obedience ring in heaven as worship. And if fear tries to whisper again that I am not enough, that I have missed it, that I am too late, quiet those voices with a reminder that I was created on purpose. For purpose, not because of my credentials, but because of your call. Not because of my perfection, but because of your power made perfect in weakness. So I press forward, not in anxiety, in assurance, not in proving, but in partnering with you, the author of all purpose. This day will not be wasted, because you are in it, because I am available, because love always finds a way. So let me be that way. Let me be a vessel of compassion, a carrier of peace, a reflection of what redemption looks like in real time. Let my purpose be wrapped not in doing everything, but in doing the right thing with the right heart. I take this next step not alone, but with you beside me, and that makes all the difference. God, as I move forward from the place of purpose you have revealed, I find myself standing in a season where progress is no longer defined by how fast I go, but by how closely I follow. I am learning to trust not in the visibility of the path, but in the one who guides my steps. The days may seem slow, the answers may seem delayed, but I feel the invitation to believe that every pause has purpose, and every silence carries sacred weight. Let me not rush ahead in anxiety, but let me walk in rhythm with your spirit. When I grow weary of waiting, remind me that trust is not passive, it is active surrender. Teach me to rest without resignation, to hope without control, and to serve even when fruit is unseen. I know you are doing more than I can perceive. I know that hidden roots grow deep before branches rise. Let me not rush ahead in anxiety, but let me walk in rhythm with your spirit. When I grow weary of waiting, remind me that trust is not passive, it is active surrender. Teach me to rest without resignation, to hope without control, and to serve even when fruit is unseen. I know you are doing more than I can perceive. I know that hidden roots grow deep before branches rise. Let me not rush ahead in anxiety, but let me walk in rhythm with your spirit. When I grow weary of waiting, remind me that trust is not passive, it is active surrender. Teach me to rest without resignation, to hope without control, and to serve even when fruit is unseen. I know you are doing more than I can perceive. I know that hidden roots grow deep before branches rise. Let me not rush ahead in anxiety, but let me walk in rhythm with your spirit. When I grow weary of waiting, remind me that trust is not passive, it is active surrender. Teach me to rest without resignation, to hope without control, and to serve even when fruit is unseen. I know you are doing more than I can perceive. I know that hidden roots grow deep before branches rise. Let me not rush ahead in anxiety, but let me walk in rhythm with your spirit. When I grow weary of waiting, remind me that trust is not passive, it is active surrender. Teach me to rest without resignation, to hope without control, and to serve even when fruit is unseen. I know you are doing more than I can perceive. I know that hidden roots grow deep before branches rise. Let me not rush ahead in anxiety, but let me walk in rhythm with your spirit. When I grow weary of waiting, remind me that trust is not passive, it is active surrender. Teach me to rest without resignation, to hope without control, and to serve even when fruit is unseen. I know you are doing more than I can perceive. I know that hidden roots grow deep before branches rise. Let me not rush ahead in anxiety, but let me walk in rhythm with your spirit. When I grow weary of waiting, remind me that trust is not passive, it is active surrender. Teach me to rest without resignation, to hope without control, and to serve even when fruit is unseen. I know you are doing more than I can perceive. I know that hidden roots grow deep before branches rise. Let me not rush ahead in anxiety, but let me walk in rhythm with your spirit. When I grow weary of waiting, remind me that trust is not passive, it is active surrender. Teach me to rest without resignation, to hope without control, and to serve even when fruit is unseen. I know you are doing more than I can perceive. I know that hidden roots grow deep before branches rise. Let me not rush ahead in anxiety, but let me walk in rhythm with your spirit. When I grow weary of waiting, remind me that trust is not passive, it is active surrender. Teach me to rest without resignation, to hope without control, and to serve even when fruit is unseen. I know you are doing more than I can perceive. I know that hidden roots grow deep before branches rise. Let me not rush ahead in anxiety, but let me walk in rhythm with your spirit. When I grow weary of waiting, remind me that trust is not passive, it is active surrender. Teach me to rest without resignation, to hope without control, and to serve even when fruit is unseen. I know you are doing more than I can perceive. I know that hidden roots grow deep before branches rise. Lord, following the trust you have built within me, I find myself stepping into dry places where comfort fades and clarity feels distant, like those ancient wanderers who crossed wilderness before the promise. I now walk not with full understanding, but with unwavering surrender. The terrain is barren, the winds are harsh, and yet your presence whispers softly above it all. I am not alone. Though no one may walk beside me, I am not forgotten. Though silence stretches long, even here, I believe you are forming strength in my soul, teaching me the quiet power of endurance. Let me drink from the well that does not run dry, the living water that refreshes beyond human explanation. Teach me to listen to the silence and hear your heartbeat in the wind. Shape my character in the stillness, refine my motives in the waiting, and anchor my hope in something deeper than the relief of circumstance. Even when sand covers the path, let your word be the lamp beneath my steps. Even here, I believe you are forming strength in my soul, teaching me the quiet power of endurance. Let me drink from the well that does not run dry, the living water that refreshes beyond human explanation. Teach me to listen to the silence and hear your heartbeat in the wind. Shape my character in the stillness, refine my motives in the waiting, and anchor my hope in something deeper than the relief of circumstance. Even when sand covers the path, let your word be the lamp beneath my steps. Even here, I believe you are forming strength in my soul, teaching me the quiet power of endurance. Let me drink from the well that does not run dry, the living water that refreshes beyond human explanation. Teach me to listen to the silence and hear your heartbeat in the wind. Shape my character in the stillness, refine my motives in the waiting, and anchor my hope in something deeper than the relief of circumstance. Even when sand covers the path, let your word be the lamp beneath my steps. Even here, I believe you are forming strength in my soul, teaching me the quiet power of endurance. Let me drink from the well that does not run dry, the living water that refreshes beyond human explanation. Teach me to listen to the silence and hear your heartbeat in the wind. Shape my character in the stillness, refine my motives in the waiting, and anchor my hope in something deeper than the relief of circumstance. Even when sand covers the path, let your word be the lamp beneath my steps. Even here, I believe you are forming strength in my soul, teaching me the quiet power of endurance. Let me drink from the well that does not run dry, the living water that refreshes beyond human explanation. Teach me to listen to the silence and hear your heartbeat in the wind. Shape my character in the stillness, refine my motives in the waiting, and anchor my hope in something deeper than the relief of circumstance. Even when sand covers the path, let your word be the lamp beneath my steps. Even here, I believe you are forming strength in my soul, teaching me the quiet power of endurance. Let me drink from the well that does not run dry, the living water that refreshes beyond human explanation. Teach me to listen to the silence and hear your heartbeat in the wind. Shape my character in the stillness, refine my motives in the waiting, and anchor my hope in something deeper than the relief of circumstance. Even when sand covers the path, let your word be the lamp beneath my steps. Even here, I believe you are forming strength in my soul, teaching me the quiet power of endurance. Let me drink from the well that does not run dry, the living water that refreshes beyond human explanation. Teach me to listen to the silence and hear your heartbeat in the wind. Shape my character in the stillness, refine my motives in the waiting, and anchor my hope in something deeper than the relief of circumstance. Even when sand covers the path, let your word be the lamp beneath my steps. Even here, I believe you are forming strength in my soul, teaching me the quiet power of endurance. Let me drink from the well that does not run dry, the living water that refreshes beyond human explanation. Teach me to listen to the silence and hear your heartbeat in the wind. Shape my character in the stillness, refine my motives in the waiting, and anchor my hope in something deeper than the relief of circumstance. Even when sand covers the path, let your word be the lamp beneath my steps. Lord, in this moment of reflection, I come again to lay down the burden I have carried so tightly, my desire to control every piece of my life. I see now how often I have clenched my fists around outcomes, relationships, and timelines, thinking that if I just tried harder, pushed further, or planned more thoroughly, I could hold everything together. But the more I grasped for control, the more things slipped through my fingers, leaving me exhausted, anxious, and far from peace. Today, I release that illusion, not in defeat, but in deep trust that you are a better keeper of all things than I could ever be. You, God, do not operate in panic or pressure. You are not driven by urgency, but by purpose. In your wisdom, you allow what I would avoid and prevent what I would pursue, not to harm me, but to shape me for something greater than I can yet see. Help me believe that surrender is not the same as giving up, but rather a sacred exchange my fragile plans for your sovereign purpose. I do not want to spend another day trying to be my own savior, spinning in circles while you are offering me the stillness of your presence. I let go of needing to know every answer right now. I let go of the timelines I have built in my head, the expectations that choke my joy, and the pressure to have everything figured out. I choose to trust you even when I cannot trace you. I choose to believe that even delays are not denials, and that you are just as present in the waiting as you are in the breakthrough. Calm the restless parts of me that still believe my worth is tied to what I can control. Replace that lie with your truth, that I am loved even when I am unsure, carried even when I am weak, and guided even when I feel lost. Lord, I place into your hands what I have no power to change. The hearts of others, the passing of time, the outcomes of prayers. I stop trying to fix what only you can heal. I stop pretending I have strength I do not, and in that humility, I find freedom. There is peace in knowing I am not the one holding the world together. There is relief in remembering that you already are. and when I feel the urge to grasp again, to manipulate, to force, to rush, gently remind me of this moment. Remind me of the safety in your sovereignty. Show me again that surrender is not weakness, but wisdom, not the end of hope, but the beginning of peace. I do not have to see the whole road to take the next faithful step. I do not have to understand everything to rest in the fact that you do. I will not fear the unknown when you are the God who goes before me, who walks beside me, and who carries me through every storm. So I breathe in surrender and exhale trust. I loosen my grip and raise open hands toward heaven. Not because I have it all together, but because I know you do. And in this sacred release, I find what I have longed for, not control, but connection. Not perfection, but presence. You are here, and that is enough for me, Lord. As the echoes of doubt begin to quiet and the noise of uncertainty fades, I find myself craving the stillness where your presence is most clear. The winds that once howled around my soul have grown gentle, and though they may rise again, for this sacred moment I rest in the hush that comes only when I stop striving. In the quiet, I sense the nearness of your spirit, not in thunder or fire, but in the whisper that settles deeply into the corners of my heart. You are here, not because I earned it, but because you choose to be near the brokenhearted, the weary, and the still. I do not need to perform, to impress, or to explain myself in your presence. You already see the full map of my soul. In this stillness, I let go of the urge to plan my own rescue. And instead, I simply sit with you. The silence no longer feels empty, it feels sacred, like a sanctuary where you meet me with no judgment, only love. Let this stillness wrap around my anxieties and hush the tremors in my chest. Let it become the soil where trust takes root and grows strong beneath the surface. God, I have often mistaken stillness for inactivity, peace for passivity. But I see now that stillness with you is where battles are won without shouting, where healing takes place in the quiet cracks of my soul. Teach me how to wait well, not with fear, but with expectancy. Let each pause in my journey be filled with your breath, every delay rich with unseen purpose. You waste nothing, not even silence. Help me believe that even when I hear nothing from you, you are still speaking in the language of peace. I confess that I have filled my life with noise because I was afraid of what I would hear in the silence. But now I welcome it. I choose to believe that what you speak in the stillness will not crush me, but carry me. I open the ears of my soul to listen not just to answers, but to the sound of your love calming every storm inside me. I surrender my need to be constantly moving, constantly achieving, and I anchor myself instead in being fully known and fully held. Let this stillness become my strength. Let it teach me patience, not as weakness, but as wisdom. I do not need to be loud to be heard by you. I do not need to force clarity when you are the author of peace. As I wait in this quiet, I ask you to refine my vision. Show me what I have missed in my hurry. Reveal the beauty that only appears when I slow down enough to see it. Draw my attention to your fingerprints on everything, on the sunrise, the breath in my lungs, the gentle beat of my heart that keeps time with your mercy. Lord, this stillness is not the absence of struggle, but the refusal to let struggle define me. It is the declaration that even in the absence of visible change, something sacred is happening. You are working in me, even when I do not feel it. You are preparing me for what is next, even as I sit still. I trust that you are not late. I trust that you are not absent. I trust that what feels like a pause is actually an invitation into deeper intimacy with you. So I will not rush this moment. I will not demand understanding. I will not fill this space with words meant to cover up my discomfort. Instead, I will breathe. I will believe. I will simply be. And in being, I will meet you again, because you are the God who does not need performance. You are the God who meets me in the whisper, and this whisper is enough. This peace is enough. You are enough, Lord. As the silence of yesterday's surrender still echoes within me, I come before you today with a heart stirred by awakening. The quiet trust I learned in the hidden spaces of my soul has prepared me for this very moment. I no longer tremble beneath the weight of uncertainty. Instead, I stand steady, aware, and ready. The stillness taught me not just how to hear your voice, but how to move when you call. Now, I feel you leading me from the shadows of waiting into the sunlight of assignment. You are the flame beneath my courage, the wind that now urges my feet to take steps aligned with your divine purpose. God, I ask not for the absence of challenge, but for the fire of conviction. Let the same hand that held me in my trembling now empower me to walk with boldness. My identity is not in my past weakness, nor in the opinions of others, but in the quiet knowing that you made me for this path. No more retreating into the comfort of delay. No more echoing old doubts dressed in spiritual caution. Today I refuse to shrink. I step into the day not as one lost, but as one sent. The lamp you lit in my night is now the torch I carry into the morning. Even if the road ahead winds and twists, I will not turn back, for you go before me. Father, let the purposes planted in me rise, like seeds bursting through soil. Water them with your spirit. I have cried over barren seasons long enough. Now I long to walk among the harvest, breathe upon the gifts I once buried in fear, uncover the wells I sealed with shame. Let every word you ever whispered to my heart come to life. Let every longing that bears your fingerprints stretch out its limbs. I do not ask for fame or applause, only that my life would echo your intention. Let me walk with clarity that this day is not mine to squander. It is sacred. It is marked. It is filled with reasons I have not yet seen. Lord, keep me rooted even as I rise. Teach me how to run without arrogance, to speak without pride, to build without forgetting the one who laid my foundation. May I not confuse movement with obedience, or business with calling. I want to walk with you, not ahead of you. If boldness is what you ask, then strip away hesitation. If gentleness is required, then tame my fire. Shape me until my motion reflects your mercy. Let my influence begin in the quietness of integrity and ripple outward, not from platform or noise, but from surrender. Make my purpose a reflection of your goodness, not a monument to self. God, I surrender comparison, For purpose is not a race. I release envy. For what you gave to others does not rob me of what is mine. I will not despise small beginnings or discount the beauty of progress made in silence. If today I am planting seeds, then I will plant them with faith. If today I am reaping, I will gather with humility. If today I am pruning, then I will not curse the shears. I trust that you are working all things to make me fruitful. Even my delays were not detours. Even my tears were not wasted. You were writing a story while I was still waiting for the ink to dry. Father, I feel you awakening things I had long thought dead. Dreams buried beneath time and trauma begin to stir. Ideas once laughed away as foolish now return with clarity. I no longer ask if I am enough, because I see that it was never about me. It has always been about your strength made perfect in my weakness. So I will walk forward with trembling hands, but a steady heart. I will walk not because I am unafraid, but because I am convinced. Your word does not lie. Your calling is not random. Your presence is my promise. As the sun rises higher and casts its warmth upon my skin, I sense the same light within me. Your light is no longer only comfort, it is commission. The places I once tiptoed into, I now walk into with holy boldness. You have not only prepared a table before me, but you have prepared me for the road that leads to it. If today demands courage, I have it in you. If it requires patience, I will find it in the rhythm of your grace. If it leads me into unknowns, I know that I will not walk alone. You have never failed me, and you will not begin now. So I rise not with pride, but with peace, not with presumption, with purpose, not to prove something, but to pursue the one who called me by name. You are the one who authored my days before I ever breathed them. You are the one who marked me with a mission before I could understand it. And now, having been refined in the shadows, I step out into the day you handcrafted for me. I do not know every detail of what awaits, but I know that you are in it, and that is enough. That has always been enough. Lord, as I rise into this new day, my soul carries the lingering strength of purpose from the steps I have taken so far. Yet I confess, with every bold stride comes a whisper of uncertainty, a flicker of doubt about the path still hidden. I feel you urging me forward, even when I cannot yet see the full horizon. And in this place between clarity and mystery, I come before you not with demands, but with a heart that simply longs to trust more deeply. You know the way, even when I do not. You see what lies beyond the bend, while I hold only glimpses. And so I surrender my need to control. I surrender my fear of the unknown. I lay down the questions that keep echoing in the corners of my mind. Why this way? Why now? How long must I wait? Instead, I choose to rest in the truth that you are with me, and for me and ahead of me. Every step, even when small or hesitant, is still progress when I walk with you. There is a quiet beauty in not knowing, in letting you guide each moment. Each breath, it feels like leaning into a wind I cannot see. Yet I feel its presence push gently against my chest. I am learning to walk with open hands, unclenched and unafraid. I am learning to trust the silence. For even there you speak. I am learning to let peace reign where panic once did. And Lord, I remember your faithfulness behind me. I call to mind the ways you made a way when there was none. I remember how you turned ashes into beauty and mourning into gladness. Those memories are stones of remembrance in my wilderness, markers that say, he was here, he was faithful. And if you have been faithful before, surely you will be faithful again. Help me to believe that what I cannot see is still held by your hands. When I do not feel strong enough to continue, remind me that I do not walk alone. You are my strength. You are my steady ground. Even in the dark, your light leads, even in silence. Your presence whispers peace. Even when doors close, you are still the God who opens and provides. Let my faith not be built on signs, but on the steady assurance of who you are. Let it not rely on emotion, but on the truth that never shifts. You are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And because of that, I can take another step. Even if my voice shakes and my heart quivers, I can walk forward, not because the path is easy, but because you walk it with me. Give me vision beyond what eyes can see. Let me perceive your movement in places I used to call still. Let me feel your breath in the quietest spaces, and know you are near. You are not only the God of miracles, but the God of the ordinary. The mundane, the daily steps that feel unnoticed yet are holy when walked with you. Father, keep my heart soft in a world that tempts me to grow cold, cynical, or numb. Renew my tenderness. Keep me sensitive to your leading. Let me not harden in disappointment or rush ahead in impatience. Let me stay pliable in your hands, like clay awaiting the gentle shaping of the potter. You are not slow in keeping your promises. You are precise. You are intentional. You are loving. So if the path feels long, it must mean that you are preparing something worthy of the journey. I will not despise the waiting. I will find you in it. I will seek your face, not just your hand. I will worship in the hallway before the doors open, knowing that you are already on the other side, waiting to receive me with joy. When fear rises, quiet it with your truth. When confusion clouds, clear it with your peace. When weariness creeps in, renew me with your strength. Let me not grow discouraged by what I do not yet understand. Let me grow rooted in the knowledge that you are trustworthy, even here. I do not ask for a map, Lord. I ask for your presence. I do not need every answer. I need your nearness. I do not chase certainty. I chase you. And in chasing you, I find everything else falls into place, not always quickly, not always easily, but always faithfully. So today, I lift my eyes, not to the mountains of anxiety, but to the hills where my help comes from. My help comes from you, the maker of heaven and earth. You will not let my foot slip. You will watch over me as I come and as I go, now and forevermore. Let this be a day of deep trust, not shallow belief, but rooted, anchored confidence in your unchanging nature. Let me walk with joy even in mystery. Let me sing even without the full melody. Let me dance on uncertain ground, knowing that you steady every step, and in all things. Let me glorify you not only in victory, but in the vulnerable walk toward it. Father, as I breathe in the stillness of this hour, I feel the weight of the world gently easing off my shoulders. The ache from yesterday begins to loosen its grip. And in this new morning light, I am reminded that I am not defined by what went wrong, what was said, or what was lost. I am not held hostage by former storms. This moment is untouched by fear, unspoiled by regret, and open to grace that only you can provide. The silence does not feel empty, it feels expectant, full of promise, full of you. And as I continue from where I left off in your presence, I see how gently you lead me, how patiently you wait for my soul to catch up with my spirit. Lord, let me not rush through this day as if it were just a task to complete. Let my feet be slow, but sure. Let my words be few, but full of meaning. Let my life, even in its smallest expressions, become a living testimony of your patience and peace. I ask not for a life without hardship, but a heart that remains soft in the midst of it. God, I confess that I still look back sometimes. I still revisit failures and losses, playing them over like a broken song. But you are teaching me how to turn the melody of regret into something redemptive. You are showing me how to sing again, not because everything is perfect, but because you are here in the imperfection. You dwell in the moments we often overlook, between the breath and the silence, between the noise and the stillness, between the falling apart and the becoming. Let today not be a race. Let it be a rhythm. Let me learn to walk in step with your grace, not ahead of it, not lagging behind it. Let my morning rise slowly, like the sun you crafted with such care. I do not need to chase the light when you are already shining within me. I do not need to conquer the day when you have already overcome the world. What I need is awareness. What I need is surrender. What I need is the courage to let go of outcomes and trust the unfolding. Lord, if my hands tremble, let them tremble open. If my heart hesitates, let it still lean forward. You did not promise comfort without cost, but you promised your presence without condition. And so I cling to that not as a desperate plea, but as a quiet trust. You are the still point in a turning world. You are the fire that does not consume, the whisper that shatters fear, the breath that revives the weary. May I be someone who carries that breath into the rooms I enter. May I speak with a tone that heals and act with a grace that disarms. Let those who brush against my life feel something unexplainably steady, because it is you who steadies me. Let my faith not be loud, but deep. Let it be the kind that does not need to be seen to be real. Let it be the kind that changes how I love, how I forgive, how I hope. I do not ask for signs today, only for the eyes to see what is already sacred. A sunrise through a fogged window, the stillness before the city stirs, a hand reaching for mine in quiet understanding, a moment of laughter that arrives like an unexpected gift. These are the places where heaven kisses earth. These are the altars built in ordinary time. And if I am not careful, I will miss them. So slow me down, God. Slow me down until I remember how holy even a breath can be. In a world that measures worth by speed and productivity, teach me the language of pause. Teach me to be present without performance. Teach me that being with you is not a task on my list, but the very oxygen my soul breathes. I want to live unhurried, even when the day demands much. I want to live undistracted, even when the noise grows loud. I want to live awake to your mercy, to your whispers, to your presence pulsing through everything. If grief comes today, let it find me open, not bitter. If disappointment arrives, let me meet it with honesty, not shame. If I fall short, let me do so with the humility to begin again, not the despair that says I never will. Each moment is a doorway to return. Each breath is a chance to choose grace again. You never run out of it, and I am beginning to believe that I do not have to either. Not when I draw from your well, not when I stay rooted in your love. Father, this day is not just a continuation, it is a resurrection, not in the grand, thunderous sense, but in the quiet turning of my heart back toward hope, back toward love, back toward you. And if I forget, if I lose my way somewhere between the tasks and the thoughts, may this prayer remain like a compass in my chest, pointing me home, not to a place, but to your heart. There, I am never lost. There, I am always beginning again. Lord, as I linger in the quiet moments you have taught me to embrace, I realize more than ever how sacred this present stillness is. The world will soon pull on my thoughts, compete for my attention, and try to stir unrest in places where you have planted peace. But before the noise finds me, I choose to rest in you again. Not passively, not by avoidance, but by intent and act of surrender so deep that even my breathing slows. Even my heartbeat steadies in rhythm with your grace. What began as a whisper in my soul now pulses like a steady drumbeat of truth. I belong to you, and you walk with me, God. I do not want to just get through the day. I want to live it awake, shaped by the quiet decisions that no one sees but you. The choice to forgive quickly, the choice to speak kindly when irritation rises, the choice to wait patiently when things are not unfolding in my timing. These small, inward choices are where your spirit refines me most, and though they rarely make noise in the world around me, they echo loudly in eternity. Help me remember that significance is not always seen. Sometimes it is simply felt in the way I carry peace into a room, in the way I hold space for others to be heard, in the way I reflect your love without needing applause. Father, you are showing me that peace is not something I stumble upon. It is something I carry when I walk closely with you. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of your voice reminding me that I am held, known, and never forsaken. Even when chaos swirls around me, I can be still within it. Even when everything seems uncertain, I can move with quiet confidence. Not because I have figured things out, but because I know who holds the pieces I do not. Let me not crave control today, but instead, crave closeness with you. Let me not seek to manage everything, but rather to yield to your hand and follow the promptings you place in my spirit. May I be soft enough to bend when you are leading and strong enough to say no to what does not align with your peace. I do not want to be driven by urgency. I want to be led by wisdom. So still me, Lord. Slow me until I remember that your timing is not cruel, it is perfect. Your ways are not confusing, they are higher. And though I may not understand, I trust that you are weaving goodness into every thread of my day. Sometimes, Peace looks like choosing silence when I want to prove point. Sometimes, it looks like walking away when pride wants to stay and argue. Sometimes, it is holding my tongue and speaking only when my words will build and not bruise. Teach me that I do not need to win battles you never asked me to fight. I am not called to conquer people, but to carry love. I am not here to impress, but to reflect. Let peace begin inside me, so it can flow through me. Lord, protect my mind from the spiral of anxious thoughts that try to convince me I am not enough or that I am falling behind. Remind me that I do not need to race against anyone else's timeline. I am on the path you designed just for me, and you are not in a hurry. Your plans do not falter when mine do. Your love does not lessen when I feel weary. You remain steady when I waver, and that steadiness is the peace I long to anchor in. Let peace not be a concept I admire, but a posture I assume, a way I breathe, a way I look at the world with gentle eyes and an unoffended heart. Let peace reshape my reactions. Let it soften my judgments. Let it make me approachable, welcoming, warm, someone who does not need to defend themselves because they are too busy depending on you. Someone who does not need to be loud because their life speaks louder through the consistency of compassion. Lord, you see the things that would try to steal my peace today. Interruptions, misunderstandings, disappointments, delays, but you also see the strength you have placed within me. You know the power of your spirit alive in me, so help me draw from that power when mine runs dry. Help me to meet every frustration with the calm assurance that I do not have to handle it alone. You are not far. You are present in the unplanned, present in the messy, present even in the moments when I feel undone. I do not need to fake strength when you offer real peace. If I am tempted to panic, remind me of all the times you have carried me before. If I begin to worry, remind me of your track record of faithfulness. If I start to strive, remind me that I do not have to earn what you give freely. Let me unclench my fists, release my expectations, and return to the place where peace is born right here in your presence. Not because everything is resolved, but because you are in the middle of it, and that is enough. Let my heart become familiar with this peace until it feels like home. Let my choices reflect it until it becomes my reputation. Let it lead my conversations, fuel my kindness, anchor my hope. And when others are searching for something real, let them find peace in me because I have found peace in you. And now, Lord, as I rise into the responsibilities ahead, let me carry peace not as a fragile thing to be guarded, but as a power to be shared. Let it move through me like breath, like light, like a song the world needs to hear but does not know how to sing. Let it be what turns ordinary moments into sacred ones. Let it be what sets me apart, not perfection, not performance, but peace. The kind that is unshaken, not because of who I am, but because of who you are. Lord, as the stillness of this morning wraps itself around me like a soft blanket, I come to you with a heart both full and quiet. The journey of these words has carried me through valleys of longing and peaks of gentle joy. It has walked me across shadows and into light. And now, As I pause here at what feels like an ending, I realize it is not an ending at all. It is a doorway, a new morning stretched before me. And in this light, I choose to step forward with a spirit rooted in trust and a soul dressed in peace. Father, thank you for holding me through every whispered moment of this prayer. Thank you for listening to the thoughts that never made it into words. Thank you for being near, even in the pauses. I sense you not as an echo, but as breath itself, closer than the quiet, deeper than my need. This journey has not been about the perfect words, but the posture of surrender, not about certainty, but about connection. And you have answered, not with thunder, but with presence, not with control, but with comfort. God, let this prayer not live only in the stillness. Let it breathe into my movement. Let it echo in my footsteps and ripple through my conversations. Let the peace you planted in me become the peace I offer others, not as a duty, but as overflow. Help me remember that this connection does not end when the prayer quiets. It continues in every breath I take with awareness. It unfolds in the choices I make when no one sees. It deepens as I remember again and again that I am not alone. Today may bring noise, conflict, or weariness. It may pull at the edges of my calm and attempt to distract me from this sacred clarity. But Father, remind me how to return, not by striving or fixing, but by simply becoming still again. Even if only for a moment, teach me that peace is not always found in changing the circumstance, but often in surrendering to your nearness within it. Even in discomfort, I can find comfort. Even in waiting, I can find you. You are not just the God of the mountain, but the God of the moment, the God of the ordinary, the God of the overlooked hour. And you delight in walking with me, not just through the epic chapters, but through the quiet, faithful steps of a life shaped by grace. I want to live today like I believe that. I want to carry this truth like a song in my chest, humming even when I forget the melody. Let it remind me that I do not have to have all the answers to be held. I do not need to figure everything out to be guided. You are enough, and that is enough for me. Lord, for the one who is weary this morning, I ask that you gently meet them in their tiredness. For the one who is unsure of what is next, let them sense your hand, even when they cannot yet see the path. For the one who feels unseen, remind them that you are the God who notices the smallest sparrow, the God who counts every tear. No moment is wasted in your presence. No prayer is too small for your attention, and no heart is beyond your healing. As the morning light stretches across the sky, painting everything it touches in soft gold, I let its beauty settle into me like hope. I let it remind me that even in darkness, light returns. Even in silence, you are speaking. Even when I feel lost, I am being led. That sunrise is more than a new day. It is a holy invitation to begin again. Not as someone perfect, but as someone present. Not because I have it all together, but because I know the one who holds all things together. Let this day be marked by that trust. Let it be shaped not by circumstance, but by the quiet courage to return to you again and again. Let it unfold with grace, with gentleness, with the kind of faith that does not shout, but stays. a faith that endures in kindness, in slowness, in peace, a faith that believes you are working in the unseen, moving in the still, speaking even in the silence. And now, Lord, as this prayer comes to a close, I do not feel an end. I feel a beginning, a new breath, a deeper stillness, a greater readiness to live this day not apart from you, but through you, with you. In you, the sun rises, the air stirs, and I rise with it not as someone rushing, but as someone resting in you. The light on my face is not just morning light. It is reminder of mercy, of hope, of the promise that nothing is wasted and everything is held. Thank you to everyone who has journeyed this far. If your heart has found a still place through these words, I invite you to leave a reflection, a prayer, or a quiet moment of your own in the comments below. Let us build a space not of noise, but of gentle reminders that we are not alone. If these prayers have blessed you, I warmly invite you to subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone who may need a moment of calm, and continue seeking light each morning. Let this be more than a prayer. Let it be a rhythm, a return, a beginning, like the breeze that brushes against your skin without asking permission, like the sunrise that never needs an invitation, like the living water that always finds its way.